What do you guys think is reasonable for the rest of the season in regards to Nebraska? Of course, you want to win all the games, but what do you think is a reasonable expectation, optimistic expectation?
I think they could easily go 6-2 down the stretch here. And I think that's reasonable with the confidence I see coming from this team and this coaching staff. And I mean, people must understand that this is a damn good defense, and it's going to go a long way to win games coming down the stretch here. So 6-2 to me is, I think that this team is on that trajectory right now, and it could even be better than that.
I think if they play up to the level that they are capable of, they can be 6-2 and maybe even 7-1. But the hard part with them is, are they going to play up to the level that we know they're capable of? Like we saw that with Oklahoma, but still there were some things holding them back. The offensive line with the false starts and the unnecessary roughness calls, and then special teams too. But if they can get everything smoothed out, minimal turnovers, minimal mistakes, strong play in the trenches, I think that they definitely could be 6-2.
Wow. Well, Nebraska fans, you want to listen to those
do all those things.
Yeah.
You want to listen to those too, because I'm not going to be quite as optimistic here.
Nor should you be.
I think it's a difficult schedule. Michigan State on the road, Northwestern looks like they're going to have one of their worst teams that we've seen recently, so they have to beat Northwestern at home. The Michigan State game, I think I'm going to give Michigan State the slight nod at home, but I think that's a winnable game for Nebraska. But I'll probably pick Michigan State to win, probably, but I think it's 60-40. Michigan.
We'll see.
That's going to be
Friday when you make your picks.
What's that?
I said we'll see there on Friday when you make your picks.
When I make my picks.
I noticed that you always
wait
until last to make your picks, so you see everybody else's picks before you make yours.
Oh, no. You don't see that I throw them on Patreon before that. I've got I pick even more than those 12 that come out.
Okay.
I pick, how many games did I pick last week? 22 games.
Wow.
So I pick all the top 25 games plus. Michigan, that's going to be a tough game at home.
Yeah.
At Minnesota, that's not going to be a cakewalk.
No Mohammed Ibrahim.
Minnesota just went to Colorado, pitched a shutout, and they gave up 63 yards of total offense in that game.
Pretty impressive.
Purdue played pretty well at South Bend against Notre Dame.
Very surprising, yes.
See, the problem is there's nobody, even Northwestern isn't a give-me win. That's the closest thing they've got where you can just say, check, check, check. There's 3 wins for sure. It's a tough road. Purdue, and then, of course, this last 3, Ohio State, Wisconsin, Iowa.
It's going to be fun.
Okay.
I feel a lot better about the whole schedule now than I did before the season started, and they're 2-2. So, yeah.
And you probably thought they'd be 3-1 right now. I did.
Yeah.
And I picked them to go 6-6, and I thought they'd be 3-1 right now.
You know, like we've said, you got to clean up that kicking game a little bit because you can't go the rest of the year being scared to even put your kicker out there and have to go for it on 4th down all the time because that's kind of the way things are going. Maybe even have to go for 2 every time you score a touchdown. I don't know, but yeah, there's some problems there that you need to get fixed. You need to get ironed out. But I think those problems are getting fewer and far between as the season goes on, and it makes it a little easier to concentrate on those few things that are going wrong right now on Saturdays.
Okay. Dependent fanatics going out on a limb. Anything from 6-2 to 0-8.
0-8, I really don't see that happening.
It's pretty wide range prediction there.
And everybody forgets Nebraska's always good for one win just that comes out of nowhere. It pretty much seems like so. Is this weekend that win? I don't know. Or is that game against Michigan that win? I don't know. But like I said, going to be fun to see how this whole thing plays out. But I'm feeling a lot better than I did, say, after that Illinois loss or after that Fordham win. I feel way better, way better.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think after that Illinois loss, everyone's head was kind of spinning a little bit with what the capability of this team was with all those mistakes. But I do feel better after the Oklahoma game, seeing what they did against the number 3 team in the country. And I think they have a good opportunity to create some momentum this weekend and really get into that Big Ten play. But yeah, it's a hard schedule. They're going to have to really grind it out. And it'll be interesting to see how it works out.
Yeah, this league, I think, again, I said this a few minutes ago, I just think it's a tremendous league, and I think that it's very deep. I don't know if there are any elite teams in the league now that Ohio State's showing some major vulnerabilities, but man, Penn State's really good, and Michigan, and all these teams play defense, except Ohio State right now. Iowa, my goodness, they're good. Yeah. And even some teams that are a little bit lower, like Purdue goes to Notre Dame, and they were in that game all the way until the last 2 or 3 minutes of the game. And Minnesota goes out to Colorado and does what they did.
I didn't see that coming. Yeah.
Indiana's lost 2 games. And if you really uncover the game that they played against Cincinnati, they, number one, had their best defensive player kicked out of the game for targeting early in the second half. Number 2, they were down 30-24 by 6 points with like 3 minutes left in the game, and they had the ball inside the Cincinnati 10 to go in for the lead score, and they fumbled, ended up losing by 2 touchdowns. Then in Indiana, nobody's talking about Indiana because they've lost a couple of games. I just think the league is really good. Like Illinois went to pretty much since they played Nebraska, they looked bad for a couple of weeks. They went to Virginia and just got torched. Then they come back and they play Maryland. And Maryland's got 2 tremendous wide receivers, like 2 NFL wide receivers. And, of course, Talia Tagovailoa throwing the ball. And they couldn't put up much of anything on a Friday night against Illinois and kicked a last-second field goal to win that game. There are going to be a ton of unpredictable outcomes, I think, in this conference. So as soon as people think they've got it pegged –
no, this is it. This is a smash mouth league. This is a physical league, and that's what you're going to see now for the rest of the season. You're going to see all these Big Ten teams just go to battle and beat the hell out of each other, and the biggest, the strongest, and the deepest are going to win.
I'll tell you that it was only 10 days ago that people were looking at my preseason prediction that Ohio State was going to go 11-1, and were telling me how stupid I was, because how in the world could Ohio State possibly lose a game? They're 2 touchdowns better than everybody on their schedule, and who in the world? Ryan Day never loses a Big Ten game or a regular season game. And now 10 days later, when I'm saying I don't know what they're going to do. They could lose 2 or 3 more games, or they could right the ship and be what they've been for the last 10 years and still go 11-1. People are telling me I'm crazy to think that they could possibly still go 11-1.
Sure, they could easily.
I don't know what's going to happen.
It's the Ohio State, right?
I know that there's like 5 or 6 really good teams in this league at least, and then even the 3 or 4 after that are pretty good.
Like we've said a couple of times, Nebraska's got 5 of them left that are ranked on their schedule. So, yeah, good league, very good league.
Yeah, in terms of us finding out anything this week, again, the biggest game in the league is Michigan State and Nebraska. Wisconsin's got an interesting one against Notre Dame at Soldier Field.
That's right, Soldier Field, yeah.
Yeah. So that's going to tell us a lot about those 2 teams. And other than that, Illinois plays Purdue, and that's it for the Big Ten in terms of games inside the league. And then after that, all of it's going to be Big Ten games.
Interesting. It's gonna be fun.
So basically, Nebraska was given a schedule by the league. Ohio State, Michigan State. Okay, were the three non-division games. Boy, they took a pretty tough draw on that one.
Yeah, I mean, why didn't they, substitute one of those for Penn State? I don't know. But yeah, the league's been punishing Nebraska for the last couple of years, I think.
Well, I know that they punished them to start league play. When Nebraska first joined the Big Ten, I thought it was pretty obvious that the Big Ten lined them up against Ohio State and Wisconsin and a few other teams like that, like for about 3 years.
Yeah, but I think that.
But now they've got a rotation, right, Greg? They've got a set rotation. They're not making a schedule every year.
Do they? I don't know. But I think it go. I mean, what was it last year when Scott Frost talked about you don't get Indiana enough on your schedule? I don't think the Big Ten took kindly to that when then Indiana turns around and beats Nebraska right after he says that. And, basically Scott Frost begging for some of the weaker opponents, on the other side of the conference is what that kind of sounded like, instead of getting stuck with all these big boys every year. Scott Frost would rather play Maryland and Rutgers and Indiana in that slate.
I think everyone would.
Yeah.
If anybody in the chat knows what the Big Ten formula is, I just know that, of course, everybody plays everyone in their division, then they play 3 games in the other division, but I don't know what that rotation looks like, or if there is a rotation, it should be a fair, equitable rotation for everyone is what it should be.
I don't think it doesn't work
that
way.
I think they just grab 3 teams.
I think it's random. I don't think there is a set rotation on it because, my God, how long has it been since Nebraska played Michigan?
Yeah.
I mean, it's very strange.
I think 2018 maybe.
I think it's been longer than that, hasn't it?
2018. Good call
no,
by you,
because,
Abby.
Okay.
Yeah, it was like
10. Sorry to bring it up, right?
Disaster.
Yeah.
It was a really, it was like, what is the 4th loss of the 6, or was it the 5th?
Yeah.
I don't know.
That was Frost's first year, 0-6 to start. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a 56-10 game. But so they played Ohio State 18, 19, 20, and now 21. That's 4 consecutive years, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that doesn't seem right. That doesn't seem like a rotation.
No, doesn't it? It's strange.
They just want Ohio State and Nebraska to play.
I get that.
People are going to watch the game.
You get eyeballs on that game. That's for sure.
All right.
You think about that game last year or 2 years ago. That was game day was here in Lincoln for that game. So I mean, that's a big deal. That's what the Big Ten's been waiting for Nebraska to be Nebraska since they joined the conference. And when you bring college game day has only been here once in the last how many years? That's not right. And that's what. ESPN, everybody's begging for Nebraska to be back and to have that Nebraska-Ohio State game mean something instead of just a beatdown every year.
Okay. I'm going to do some homework on this. For one thing, this is what I found out, is that in the even years, the East teams play the 5 home games and the 4 road games. And on the odd years, like 2021, the West has 5 home games and 4 road games. And so starting in 2022, next year through 25, so that's 4 seasons, these games are protected, meaning they'll play every year. Maybe they do have a 4-game rotation, a 4-year rotation with these teams, because for those 4 years, Nebraska is going to play Michigan all 4 years. Well, they're playing them this year. Why would they then start another rotation of? Anyway, I don't get it. But I'm looking at the protected crossovers from 2022 through 25. That's 4 seasons. Illinois, Penn State, Indiana, Purdue. Indiana, Purdue, they always protect that game. It's the old Oak and Bucket game. They play every year. Anyway, Iowa, Rutgers, Maryland, Northwestern, Michigan, Nebraska, Michigan State, Minnesota, Ohio State, Wisconsin. I would think that they've got to have a formula. They can't just grab teams every year.
I'm more confused now than I ever have been.
I appreciate that I could do that for you.
Let me fire off an email to Kevin Warren and see what I can find out. If he'd even return my email.